Hey guys, MDB here, and today I want to talk about something serious. Probably the most serious topic of 2022 so far, saving money. Let's quickly break down how to save money on personal care and cosmetics and how you can keep more money in your pocket during this crazy time of inflation. Okay, so as we all know, inflation is currently at a 40-year high. The average consumer is seeing price increases on everything from gas to diesel to cereal to lip balm and soap. And the reasons for this are quite complex, but we can put it down to, at the beginning we had a pandemic and we had stay-at-home orders issued worldwide. This shut down factories, which either delayed the production of certain goods or ceased the production of certain goods altogether. And on top of that, shipping disruptions and higher gas prices have increased the price of freight across the board. So given all these factors, how do we, the good people of the MDB subscribership, save money on personal care and cosmetics? Well, first, you should probably hit the like button. That'll definitely save you money in the long run. But other than that, we should listen to the following tips. The first few tips are cost-saving measures you can take if you're a consumer, and the next few tips after that are cost-saving measures you can take if you're a brand owner or an entrepreneur in the personal care and cosmetic space. And with that, let's get started. For the consumers, pro tip number 1. Don't be afraid to buy duplicates or product offsets. And by this, I mean budget-friendly alternatives to the products you might usually buy from the big beauty brand stores. For instance, it should be no surprise to you that by the time you get to the counter, that product you're buying has been marked up by multiple middlemen, either 200 to 400% above the manufactured cost. Product duplicates or product offsets are just brands that are produced further down the chain, avoiding a whole bunch of middlemen. And I know what some of you are thinking. I don't want to buy some bootleg deodorant that's going to be potentially dangerous and not as effective. But in my opinion, there are a good number of retailers that do a good job of vetting product offsets, product duplicates. Just to name a few, Rite Aid and CVS will carry mid to low price brands like ELF or Physicians Formula, and even Walmart. Yes, you heard me correctly. Walmart has an excellent vetting process on the supplier side. And on a related note, pro tip number 2, consider buying directly from a manufacturer or wholesaler if at all possible. There are quite a few manufacturers and wholesalers that offer partial or sometimes direct substitutes for some of those really pricey cosmetic items like retinol creams, retinol serums, anti-wrinkle creams, anti-aging creams. Some of the firms that come off the top of my head are Essential Wholesale, Beauty Pie, and Rain Shadow Labs, just to name a few. But there are honestly a couple of dozen who you've probably never heard of simply because they don't have the marketing dollars that the big brands have. And lastly, for consumers, pro tip number 3, take steps to become a smarter shopper. Seems obvious, but the devil's in the details. You may not realize, but during the pandemic, companies put out a ton of deals just to stimulate sales in the beauty and personal care space. And a lot of times, these deals are still accessible. For instance, before you click to make that online purchase or actually buy when you're in the checkout line in the store, please check out for coupons. I personally use the Retail Me Not app to make a lot of purchases these days. I think it's kind of awesome. Alongside coupons, I highly encourage you to take advantage of all those retail rewards programs out there, especially those that are really in the beauty and personal care space. The deals they offer can be quite insane. The ones I personally use and take advantage of, I know, are the ones from CVS and Target. Additionally, this may seem obvious, but choose the retailers that have great return policies. A lot of products, beauty and personal care, are wasted simply because they don't fit the customer's purpose or they simply don't work as intended. So having a lax return policy is always a great thing. Before I go on to the second part of the video, let me first take a moment to inform you about 3 courses you might be interested in, all brought to you by a company I co-own, Alchemist Express. Here we have condensed years of beauty sales, marketing, manufacturing, and formulations knowledge into courses that you can check out today. The first course is Creating a Successful Beauty Brand, a marketing and branding course for those who have an idea for the beauty space and are looking to market it effectively. Another course is Manufacturing a Beauty Brand, which focuses on sourcing manufacturers for your beauty brand and making sure you find the most effective way of working with them. And lastly, we have the Preservation course, aimed at both professional and novice formulators and people who are simply curious about how preservation of cosmetics works. This Preservation course teaches you everything you need to know, from challenge testing to expiration dates. Links to all the courses are in the description below. We will also occasionally have coupon discount codes that you can enter every so often. Now, let's move on. If you are a beauty brand owner, you have experienced supply constraints that are absolutely bonkers. I can honestly say that from the fourth quarter of last year, I have gotten price increases every single day, mostly from manufacturers and chemical companies. And on top of that, the increased shipping costs have made your margins that were already tight before even tighter. So what can we do about this? Well, here are my thoughts. Until inflation cools down and these supply chain issues resolve themselves, there are a few small tweaks we can make to our own supply chains to save us money in the end. And with that, let's start with pro tip number 1, changing the packaging. Changing your pack out, or the actual size of your packaging, can actually save your business money during this time. Just for the sake of shipping costs, consider changing your pack out. Changing your pack out is, of course, a judgment call that's based on the shipping costs and the cost of your product. But in general, as the shipping costs rise, you're going to want to make sure to increase the margins on everything you ship. This could mean, shipping a 2 or 3 pack, whereas in the past you would have only shipped a 1 pack. Also consider changing the volume of your product. Let's say, for instance, you sold a soap in a 16-ounce bottle. It's okay to consider scaling back down to a 12 to 14-ounce bottle in this interim. And yes, I know this is called shrinkflation, the dreaded shrinkflation, but the truth is, it actually works. Customers are less opposed to getting a smaller volume of product at the same price than getting the same volume of product at a higher price. I don't know why this is. You have to ask a psychologist. Pro tip number 2, negotiating with your manufacturer or distributor. What a lot of people still don't understand these days is that manufacturers and distributors have become a lot more flexible in terms of the services they offer overall. And this makes a lot of sense because the retail space itself has seen seismic shifts in pricing, distribution, and the customization that customers want overall. And now you as the customer can now take advantage of this flexibility to save you money in the long or short run. For instance, maybe you're dealing with a completely turnkey manufacturer for your beauty products. Turnkey simply meaning that they provide everything in the supply chain, and they do everything in the supply chain. They're sourcing the products, they're sourcing the raw materials, the packaging, they're compounding the product, they're wrapping it on a final skid, and they're shipping it to the store or distribution center of your choice. In order to save yourself some money, might I suggest disaggregating some of these turnkey services so that you can either do it yourself or have another firm do it cheaper. This, of course, requires you negotiating with your manufacturer first. For instance, instead of maybe having your manufacturer label your packaging, try sourcing that function out to another firm. This might save you money, but it involves a little bit of investigation ahead of time. In fact, I know from personal experience that one of the most common services that is disaggregated from manufacturers is warehousing. So if your manufacturer is currently warehousing your product, I would investigate the fees they are charging you for that warehousing, see if you can either warehouse it yourself or find another storage area to do the warehousing for you. This could end up saving you hundreds to thousands of dollars a year depending on the volume of product you typically move. Pro tip number 3, changing your formula. Guess what, guys? Your formulations are not set in stone. They can be changed to become more economical, ideally with the help of a chemist or a cosmetic formulator. Are those essential oils in your product getting a little too pricey? Consider swapping them out for some alternatives. Are those waxes and butters you're using breaking the bank? Consider swapping them out for some alternatives that will give you the same thickness and consistency that you're looking for. Just remember that whatever changes you're making to your formulation, your goal should always be to achieve the same performance and brand messaging as the original product, because customers can smell hypocrisy a mile away and they will punish you for it by not buying your product. Also, remember, any changes to your formulation must be reflected on the ingredient list on your label because legally you have to. Anyway, guys, those were my pro tips, or at least how I would start to think about saving money in this crazy marketplace. I'd love to hear from you about any ideas or any questions you might have. If you want to leave a comment in the comment section below, I try to reply to you guys as best as I can. This has been $1 Million Batchmaker. Once again, until next time, signing out.